Imagine a melody that sweeps you into a world of dancing swans, or a festive tune that conjures sugar plum fairies on a snowy Christmas Eve. This is the magic of Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Russia's most cherished composer, whose music has stirred hearts for 185 years. Today, May 7, 2025, marks the anniversary of his birth in 1840, and we are diving into the life of a man whose notes carried his joys, sorrows, and unbreakable spirit. Welcome to Stand Up Historian. My name is Kurosh, and I bring this show to you from beautiful Seattle, Washington. In this episode, we're exploring Tchaikovsky's journey from a humble industrial town to the grand stages of the world. Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky wasn't born in a glittering capital like Vienna or Paris, surrounded by opera houses and maestros. Unlike Mozart and Beethoven, which were born into musical families, he was not. No, his story begins in Votkinsk, a rugged ironworks town in Russia's Ural Mountain, far from the musical elite. Born on May 7, 1840, to a family rooted in the Russian Empire's professional class, Tchaikovsky grew up in a world of clanging metal and discipline. His father, Ilya, managed the local ironworks, while his mother, Alexandra, brought a touch of elegance with her French-Russian heritage. His father's family stemmed from the Cossacks of Little Russia, which today is called Ukraine, grounding Tchaikovsky in a diverse cultural tapestry. But music? It wasn't the family trade, yet it was everywhere in their home. And orchestrion, it's a mechanical music box, played Mozart's Don Giovanni, filling the air with melody. His mother played the harp and piano, and his father dabbled with the flute. Young Pyotr, one of 7 siblings, was drawn to these sounds like a moth to flame. His sensitivity and musicality were evident early on. Despite this, music was not seen as a career. At 10, he was sent to the Imperial School of Jurisprudence in St. Petersburg, trained for a stable life as a civil servant, as it was customary at the time. But music tugged at him, relentless. He took piano lessons, sang in choirs, and even composed small pieces, all while juggling legal studies. So, in a way, he was a bureaucrat, but music never left him. By his early 20s, he faced a choice: security or passion. We all face that one way or another in our life. I hope we all face that. In 1865, he made a leap and enrolling in the newly founded St. Petersburg Conservatory. That was what he did. He followed his passion. It was a bold move in a Russia where professional music was still finding its footings. It was not like major cities like Vienna, Paris, or even London. Tchaikovsky was a composer who emerged from a very unlikely background, proving that genius can bloom anywhere. That was the opening of Swan Lake, one of Tchaikovsky's masterpieces. It's hard to believe this soaring beauty came from a man raised, in fact, amidst iron and discipline. You would expect a rugged man with no touch with emotions, let alone music. Let's see how he turned that spark into a global legacy. Tchaikovsky's decision to pursue music wasn't just personal, it was revolutionary. Russia in 1860s wasn't a hub for classical music like Germany or Italy. But Tchaikovsky, trained under Anton Rubinstein at the conservatory, was determined to change that. He graduated in 1865 and soon joined the Moscow's conservatory as a professor, all while composing works that would, in fact, redefine and reimagine Russian music. He was breaking new ground in Russian music. His big break came in 1876 at the age of 36 with Swan Lake, the first of his three iconic ballets. It wasn't an instant hit. Early audiences found its emotional depth challenging, but it laid the groundwork for his fame, the Swan Lake. Later came The Sleeping Beauty in 1890 and, of course, The Nutcracker in 1892. Ballets that married Russian spirit with European elegance. His cosmopolitan style blended Russian folk melodies with Western classical tradition, just like the family he came from, a Russian father and a French mother, making his music a bridge between cultures. Listen to this from Nutcracker. That's the Waltz of the Flowers, a holiday staple that sparkles with joy. Tchaikovsky's genius wasn't just in his melodies, but in his ability to evoke universal emotions. He wasn't content with local fame. He was not. He wanted to have this universal acknowledgement. In 1891, he conducted at opening of Carnegie Hall in New York, a pinnacle of his international success. 2 years later, Cambridge University awarded him an honorary doctorate, and his music, from the thunderous 1812 overture to the tender Romeo and Juliet fantasy overture, spoke to the whole world. But what made Tchaikovsky's music so powerful? What was it? It was his heart. He poured his life, his loves, his losses into every note. It is known his melodies carry the weight of his emotional work. A world we're about to explore, and shadowed by pain as much as brilliance. In people like Tchaikovsky, these geniuses, you always find these shreds of pain and suffering and sorrow, as if that is a requirement for the genius to blossom. Behind Tchaikovsky's soaring music was a man wrestling with profound pain, starting with a devastating loss at 14 when his mother died. The grief never left him, seeping into aching melodies of works like his Sixth Symphony, the Pathetic. His sensitivity and musicality were evident very early on. Then came his personal life. Let's take a look at his personal life. It was marked by turmoil. In 1877, when he was 37 years old, Tchaikovsky married Antonina Miliukova, a former student. The marriage was a disaster. It was driven by societal pressure, opposition from his family, and finally to somehow conceal rumored homosexuality. A reality he could not openly express in 19th century Russia. The marriage collapsed basically within a few weeks, pushing him to the brink of despair. He fled to Europe and sojourned in Swiss, seeking solace in music, but the scars remained. His death in 1893 at age of 53 is shrouded in mystery. Officially, it is said that he died of a disease after drinking unboiled water, but rumors persist. Some even say suicide. Others suggest coercion tied to his sexuality. The Pathetic premiered just 9 days before his death. Feels like the whole work feels like a farewell. His swan song, a haunting reflection of his inner turmoil. That's the sound of a soul laid bare. Tchaikovsky's pain didn't just break him, it fueled his art. His music became a refuge, a way to express what words couldn't. And that's why 185 years later, his melodies still touch us. They are human, raw, and timeless. Tchaikovsky's music didn't just survive him, it thrived. Today, his ballets light up stages from Moscow to New York. Its dance of the sugar plum fairy synonyms with holiday magic everywhere you go, with nutcrackers and the beautiful music. In 1812, overture roars at celebrations, from Russian festivals to American 4th of July concerts. When you hear the waltz of the flowers in the Nutcracker on Christmas Eve, remember the brilliant Russian composer who gave the world such beauty, such a gift. His influence stretches beyond classical music. Filmmakers use his scores to evoke drama. Pop artists samples his melodies. On platforms, even like X, fans mark his 185th anniversary with tributes celebrating his universal appeal while acknowledging his struggle. I saw one post that called him a genius whose heart bled into every note. A sentimental comment, but it captures his enduring power. Tchaikovsky's legacy is a reminder. Art can transform pain into something eternal. So next time you hear Swan Lake or pass a theater playing the Nutcracker, please pause. Think of the man from Wotkinsk who turned a life of iron and loss into melodies that still make us feel alive. We have journeyed through Tchaikovsky's world, from the iron works of Wotkinsk to the stages of Carnegie Hall, from his childhood rhythms. His music carries the weight of his emotional world, a gift that's touched generation. As we celebrate 185th years since his birth, let's honor Tchaikovsky's by listening to his music, to his story, to the humanity in every note. Thank you for joining me on Stand Up Historian. If Tchaikovsky's story moved you, share your favorite piece with me, maybe here or on X with the hashtag Tchaikovsky185. And I wish you all the best. Enjoy the music